W. Clement Stone is one of my favorite billionaires ever. At his peak, he owned an insurance company with over 20,000 agents. It was the biggest insurance company in the history of insurance companies. And before he died, he gave away most of his wealth. This is before giving away your wealth was a trendy thing to do. But that's not the main reason why I like him. The reason I like him is because he's the reason we know about Think and Grow Rich. You see, before W. Clement Stone, the book Think and Grow Rich was a flop, and it had been a flop for like 20 years. Then Stone picked up the book, read it, and realized how amazing it was, and then he used his power, his influence, and his connections to really push the book out. He made the book a smashing hit 20 years after it was published. I feel the reason he did that is because he realized that the world needed to have the right mindset if it wanted to become successful. He then went on to write another book with the author of Think and Grow Rich, and this was an autobiography / self-help book. When I read that book, I found something really interesting, and this is kind of what the video is about. When Stone was younger, he was broke. He had like $100 to his name, that's it. And one of the ways he got ahead in life is he would hang out in the parking lots of fancy restaurants and country clubs. The reason he did this is because he wanted to meet successful people. And then when he made a little bit of money, he invested that back in by going into these country clubs and these fancy restaurants to again meet successful people. Stone knew that these elites had access to better opportunities. They just thought about money and success in ways him and his peer group would never think of. And he knew that if he could infiltrate this circle of elites, his whole life would change. The power of being in the right circles continues to be vastly important even to this day. I've seen people join really expensive masterminds not because of what they learn, but because of the other people joining and the connections that they can make. I've seen people spend thousands of dollars on business class flights because of the people they'll sit next to or the people they'll meet in the business class lounges. When I first got started though, I didn't have thousands of dollars to spend on a first class ticket or on a really expensive mastermind. So I pursued the same goal of meeting successful people in a completely different way. And that way was by sending emails. As strange as it may sound, I have booked meetings with billionaires, venture capitalists, guys who run massive hedge funds, all through the power of email. But it's not just these really big people. I've also gotten a chance to meet people who are a few years ahead of me. I'm talking about making $50,000 to $100,000, and I've got these connections too through email. Cold email has been so impactful to me that, as trite as it might sound, I believe it's the number one habit that you can start to get ahead in life. Why is this? Cold emailing is emailing people you've never met before. It's similar to cold calling, like the stuff that Jordan Belfort does in The Wolf of Wall Street. Except with cold email, you don't have to be that suave and amazing on the phone. You just need to know how to craft the perfect email, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about exactly that. Now, when it comes to writing a cold email, most people get intimidated. They think, why would that really successful person want to talk to someone like me? But the truth is, these people have gotten to where they have because they are open to opportunity. The people at the top don't really care about age or even years of experience. They just care about what value you can bring to them. And as crazy as it may sound, you can bring a ton of value to a billionaire. Like, let's say you were reaching out to Warren Buffett. If you were reaching out to him and you were helping him start his own YouTube channel where he could talk about all the stuff that he has learned, or if you were trying to help him exercise, I'm sure you know things about this field that he doesn't. Here's how cold email completely changed my life. I remember the first time I sent a cold email. It was to this real estate broker who was operating out of Beverly Hills. He had his own show on Netflix and was insanely successful. Like, he would sell $10 million Beverly Hills homes on the daily. And here, this kid sitting in his parents' house in India was writing him an email. And so I spent hours researching him, and I watched interviews that he had done. So I understood what stuff he liked and he didn't like. And I scripted an email that was short, which is really important. These guys are super busy, right? It was short and it was really to the point, and it was incredibly personalized. I was super nervous. But I hit send, and in just a few hours, he responded back. We went back and forth, and then he hopped on a call with me. The call went really bad because I had a really bad stutter. But even though it went bad, I still closed the deal. And that's when I first realized the power of cold email. They will reach out to you and they will ask you what they can do for you. Like, guys, just think about how amazing this is. If this was like 25, 30 years ago, before email became what it is today, you would have to write letters. You would have to know someone who knew someone who could make an introduction. Now you can just get most people's emails right off the internet, and you can get in front of literally anyone you want. Like, imagine if you were dating and you could get in front of 25 really hot girls for at least 10 seconds. Like, even if you were ugly and you had no game, and if you were broke, you would still end up with a girlfriend. It's just simple math. Imagine reaching out to 25 people with really personalized emails every single day. That's like over 700 people each month. You're telling me you won't get any career progress by reaching out to 700 people every single day? And the great thing about this is it's completely free. You're not spending thousands of dollars on those masterminds or on booking first class tickets. And it's also pretty easy to do. Like, in the time of Clement Stone, he would literally go out every single day and just hang out in the parking lots of these fancy restaurants. You don't have to do any of that. You can just sit in the comfort of your home or go to a nice cafe and just script really personalized emails. And once you develop a good skill, this could be a side hustle of yours. Like, I first started sending out cold emails on my behalf, and now I've gotten so good at it that I have other agencies hiring me to send cold emails on their behalf. My company sends over 1,000 emails every single day, and I get paid not just by those companies, but also by the people who actually answer my emails and want to work with me. So not only is this free to do, not only is this pretty easy, not only will this get you a ridiculous amount of career growth, but it's also a skill that you could monetize later on and sell to other people who want similar results. Alright, so enough about how amazing cold email is. I'm gonna teach you guys now how to write a cold email that will actually get read and will book you meetings. First off, cold email is not spam. You need to make sure that the email is incredibly personalized. So with that being said, let's go to the anatomy of a cold email. The first part of a cold email is a strong subject line. You know how, like, in a TikTok or in a YouTube video, you have a hook that will hold the audience's attention? In an email, the hook is the subject line. Because even before they open the email, they read the subject line, and as long as you can convey to them that this isn't spam and that this email was made personally for them, you're good. One of my favorite subject lines is name, I loved you on X podcast. A lot of these people who you email will be successful, and so they've definitely been interviewed on a podcast or on a newspaper publication. So just make sure you mention that, and when you do it, they know that this email is personalized and they're going to open the email. Now that you got them to open the email, this is when you script an amazing first line to keep them reading. With the first line, you need to immediately tell them why you're reaching out to them. So what I like doing is I like saying, I'm reaching out to you because, and then I write the reason I'm reaching out to them. So because I run a video editing agency, it might be, I'm reaching out to you because I would love to edit your videos. But if you're a fitness trainer, you could say something like, I'm reaching out to you because I would love to get you in great shape so that you can spend more time running around with Hannah and Heather. This is under the assumption that this guy you're reaching out to has daughters named Hannah and Heather. Like, when you add this level of personalization, when this guy reads this email and he sees that you've mentioned both of his daughters, he knows that this isn't spam. Like, there's no way you send the same email to a bunch of people. It had to be sent specifically for him. And then in the next 2 to 3 lines, quickly explain your process or how you would both work together. And then here is where you drop a clear call to action. You can say something like, if that sounds interesting, let me know when you're free for a 15-minute call. Make sure you don't ask for 30 or 60 minutes. These guys are really busy. And if the conversation is good, they'll stay on for longer. A really good rule of thumb is making sure the whole email can be read on your phone without a single scroll. And you don't have to send out cold emails to sell the person on something. You could literally just send the cold email without asking them for anything. You could just send a good compliment and tell them that you're following them on LinkedIn and on Instagram. They'll see the email, and then when they get the notification that they've got a follow request on LinkedIn or on Instagram, they'll remember it was you. And then what you can do is just connect with them, just engage with them, like their posts, comment on their images, reply to their stories. And when you do this, you slowly build a connection with them. And you can just continue doing this until you actually have an ask.